Reclaimed is the podcast about the woman's journey of reclaiming her power through somatic work, breath work, plant medicine, and conversations. I am Kyla Gagnon, and this is Reclaimed. Hello, sweet friends. Welcome back to the conversation. I have today a very special guest. I think I probably say that all the time. I have Rayna Boychuk on the podcast today. I first found Rayna on Instagram maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Her account is the Self Love Lounge, and there just was something about her. You know, when you just meet someone or you see someone and you're like, yeah, there's something about you. I feel really drawn to you. So I have followed Rayna for the past few years and decided recently just to reach out and be like, hey, this is what I do. Do you want to have a conversation? And she was a yes. Of course, it all makes sense now having this conversation. Her and I felt like we could have talked for hours. And right actually towards the end of the podcast, when it sounds like maybe we're coming to completion, we're not. We keep going. So if you've not yet met Rayna, seen her on Instagram, I think you're going to love her. Rayna's path on this planet is to be a leader of the new paradigm. And her purpose ultimately is guiding women back home to themselves. So if you have followed me for even a blink of an eye, you probably know that I love that. I'm here for that. That is the mission. I literally everything Rayna says in this conversation, I'm like, yep, me too. So please sit back, enjoy, grab a beverage. This is Rayna. Hello, Rayna. Welcome to the conversation.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
So glad you're here. I was just binging your Instagram as I was eating lunch before we hopped on, which is where I found you on the wide world of the Instagram.
Yeah. We make I've made quite a few connections on that platform with some amazing women.
I bet. Yeah. So when I resisted it at first. When Instagram first came out, I was like, nope, not doing that.
Yeah.
And then I finally did it. And then the stories came out and I was like, I'm not doing that. And then I did it. Here we are.
Yeah, me too.
Of course. That's
how it goes.
Oh my God, it is. The first question, well, really the only question that I know that I'll ask is, what are you currently reclaiming?
What am I currently reclaiming? I have been and am still currently reclaiming my true authentic self.
Yeah.
Been a journey. Yeah.
And what is that looking like for you these days? Because
these days, it just, I'm so much more embodied in strength and certainty and just wisdom and openness and just going with the flow of this ride that we're on currently, and we will be on for quite some time.
Yeah, I like that you say that with a little bit of laughter in your voice. So when did well, this might be even a bigger question, but when did that even start for you? Like, what is the journey of Rayna to get here? Maybe a better way to ask that is, when did you notice that you hadn't or weren't connected to that authentic part of you?
That probably about 10 years ago. I've always, from my early 20s, I was always in the personal development space, reading everything, trying to heal, dipping my toes into spirituality and just kind of everything. It was just kind of for about 2 decades, really. It was just everything that I was looking into. And the reason that I was in this is because I was in so much pain. I was in so much pain, so much suffering. And there was always just something in me. And I knew, like, this is not the way it's supposed to be. This isn't the way I'm supposed to feel. This isn't the way my life is supposed to go. And so, yeah, it was probably really started to connect, shift, transform about 10 years ago. So when I was about 39, 40 years old. And the last decade has just been incredible. You know? Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like there's this like everyone uses the word awakening, this rise, but there's something about women right now. I'll say from my experience, it's like this like 35 to like 55. There's this thing happening that is so good
There
and
is.
so big. There
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Is
Yeah.
that primarily who you're working with?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
very good. It's
Yeah. And
very good.
it's interesting you say that, because it's almost like, um well, for example, for me, it's almost like this long lost code just unlocked for so many women. And for me, it was back in 2020. I think it was March of 2020,
Oh, the good old days.
right? The good old days. Yeah, the good old days. And something within me, out of nowhere, just said, it's time. And I still remember it to this day, like it happened an hour ago, and it said, it's time. And I said it out loud at the moment. I'm like, it's time. And my boyfriend was like, what? And I said, it's time. And at that time, I had no idea what it meant, what was going to come of it. But I mean, again, that was 4.5 years ago. And, I said the last decade is kind of when I really started experiencing transformation, but there is nothing that compares to what I moved through, and transformed in the last 4.5 years. Like, it's been wild. Yeah.
This. Um, I want to just actually go there because we just spoke this word before we hit record, and I'm just seeing it in my mind. But you spoke the word sovereignty. I asked if there's anything that feels really important to you right now, and you said
Mhm.
sovereignty, and I love that word. I love it so much. So, can you share a little bit about what that word means to you? Why do you love it? How is it showing up for you?
Yeah. Yeah. That that word actually is the foundation of all of my work. Because in order for us to be free, I mean, truly free, okay? In order for us to fully come alive, in order for us to fully transform, we have got to become sovereign inside first. That is the first and only step to true freedom and liberation. The only
Couldn't
path.
agree more.
Yeah. Yeah. Only path.
Yeah. And so, I can hear questions of like,
Mm-mm.
what? I'm sovereign. I'm totally sovereign.
Yeah.
I would have said that. I'll use my story as an example. 5 years ago, I'd been on my, like, whatever this journey is.
Yeah.
People call it the healing journey,
Yeah.
self-development journey.
Yeah.
For, let's say I started when I really dropped in when I was 26, and I'm 41 now. So,
Yeah.
a while. And I would have said, I was such an asshole. I would have said I was good. I was totally good.
Yeah.
I don't even really need to do any more work, even though my, bookshelves were filled with all of the next books that I must read because I'm broken, obviously, in all of these ways.
Yeah.
Thank you, self-help bookshelf in
Yeah.
chapters,
Yeah.
which is a whole other thing. I totally would have said I'm like a sovereign being. I'm totally in control of myself. I know what I know, and I know what I like, and I know what I want, which was utter bullshit. And it wasn't until my personal experience was psilocybin and breath work were the two things that cracked me open to be like, oh, wow, wow, there's a whole other thing here. So when someone hears like, yeah, just, let's get clear with who you are and come back to your sovereignty. How? What?
I know. And that's the thing. We don't know what we don't know.
No,
We
no,
just don't, right?
no. And so, how do you, well, okay, actually, before I even say that, I was going to say, how do you, like, how do you scream it from a mountaintop, because this work is so important? How do we get all of the women? And then as soon as the next thought comes in, I'm like, well, it's in their own time and they'll get themselves. There's that
Mhm.
trust, right? We have to have that total trust in people to be on their journey at the right time. So it really is it just like showing up in your sovereignty and showing up and standing strong in yours to be the light. Is this what's coming down to? Is like be the light for others?
I truly believe, yeah, I truly, truly believe that. And of course, like you said, we all have our own journey and our own time. Um, However, with that being said, we were granted the luxury pre 2020 of just kind of trudging along our own journey in our own time. Post 2020, we don't really have that luxury anymore. And I don't say that, to put fear out there. I mean, fear is irrelevant. Fear is just an energy. But in this age of Aquarius that we're in right now, and in this grand awakening that we are moving through, um, it's kind of important.
It kind of is.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of important. And I mean, one of the beautiful things uh, that's actually bringing people to this work, this inner work, is just the fact that the world has gone fucking mad, gone mad, right? The energies are so potent. We're seeing so much darkness. We're seeing so much evil in the external, in relation with one another. Everything's kind of coming to the surface. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Which I think ultimately is it's a good thing. It just feels really
it
uncomfortable.
is a good thing. And it's very uncomfortable. And of course, the more repressed emotions and trauma bodies that one has in their vessel, the more difficult and it is. And that's really why we have to just see our brothers and sisters in humanity through eyes of compassion at this time. You know, that's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Compassion, eyes of compassion. I use that saying when I facilitate breath. I said it yesterday like 7 times. Can we see this through the eyes of compassion? And I wonder too if if we can truly see another with those eyes, if we haven't been able to see them in ourselves first. You don't think so?
No,
I don't think so.
no. And again, that leads into just the importance of going inwards during this time,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's going to lead me into the next thing I want to talk to you about. But before I get to that, I'm wondering if there are almost like warning signs or little red flags, little insights that we can be mindful of. Maybe women who like myself didn't know what I didn't know. Is there signs? Is there things that we can sense, feel, know, awaken to that would indicate that maybe we aren't in our sovereignty, we aren't in our power, we aren't in our
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Want to share some of
Just,
those?
I always say, just take 5 minutes and just to take a scan of your life, your entire life. Just take a scan and notice where there's suffering. Notice where there's struggle. Notice where there's sadness. Notice where there's unhappiness. Notice where there's anger. Um, Notice what state your nervous system is in. Notice how you feel, moment to moment, day to day. Are you in fear? Are you worried? Are you afraid? Are you, um, you know, looking at the economic forecast going, holy shit? Those are all flags. Every single one of those are all massive flags. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. As you say that, one of my mentors teaches a lot about, well, in the containers I've been, teaches a lot about, power of the goddess and that part of us. And the way she teaches it, or at least the way I receive her teaching it, is, some people might say your highest self, your most aligned self, your
Mhm.
power self, your wise one. That to me is that. So I see that as the goddess, this like unwavering, anchored, like warrior.
Mhm.
And the way this particular mentor describes it is she's ultimately just okay. She's okay.
Okay.
And so yeah, when a scary thing comes in or this unknown comes in,
Yeah,
she is like, okay.
I've got this. She's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Yeah,
Which I
absolutely.
I know is a big part of your work is like that goddess that's I don't know what else we maybe would call her, but I saw a post of yours. Like I say, I was binging your Instagram before we started, and
Yeah.
I'd seen this post before, but I was like, "Ooh, this is a really, really good one." And it said, "The dark feminine says, heal the inner child and become a thriving goddess." I love that, and I could not agree more. Can you just like with the statement itself? But I would like to know what that even is to you. Like, can you tease that apart more?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and a lot of my work most of my work surrounds the inner child.
Yes.
Um, and every single one of us, every single one of us, and I always go out of my way to make this okay. This is all okay, right? But every single one of us has these wounded little children within us, right? And this is all energy. Trauma is dense energy in the body. But every single one of us has these wounded children within us, right? And as a result, we truly are. We look like adults, right? We act like adults. We go to work.
Sometimes.
We pay our bills. We go for groceries, and we form relationships, intimate relationships with others. However, we often, more times than not, operate from a child consciousness.
Yes.
We just do. And again, it's okay. I mean, this is the world we've grown up in. It's the society we've grown up in. It's generations of trauma that have been passed over and over and over and over, right? But when we can begin, I always say to the women that I work with, some of them are carrying a lot of shame, or some of them are fearful, or they feel very unworthy. And I just say, you need to understand it's not the grown woman of today that's feeling this. It's not you. It's not your highest self. It's not your soul. It is that little girl within you that has been holding on to this, and it needs to be tended to,
Yeah.
you know? And only we can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And yet we outsource I say we as like collective, we outsource, outsource. Can you
All of
fix
it.
this? Can you do this? Can you
All of
tell me what to
it.
do? What
Yeah.
should I do?
Yeah. All of it. We distract, we numb, we run, we look to others to fill that void that we have in ourselves. We take, we're prescribed a pill. It's just, and this whole time, there's this little girl or this little boy who just wants to be seen, felt, heard, loved,
Mm-hmm.
protected, and alchemized into wholeness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that is actually, I'll use the word easier. That and easy doesn't come with challenge or big
Yeah.
emotions,
Yeah.
but it's easier and faster than you taking a pill to cover up the pain. Going to a, I don't know, a talk therapist, going to a doctor,
Mhm.
it is almost miraculous what can shift when you actually take a hot moment to be present with that pain part inside and just honor that it actually exists.
Yeah. It is.
It will disintegrate. It is mind boggling
I know.
and
Isn't it?
beautiful. And it's right here.
Yeah.
Like, it's right here.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're right. And when I teach, I just say, just imagine you take 5 minutes to tend to your little girl who's feeling really unworthy. You've just removed 2 or 3 layers of energetic trauma from your body.
Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
what you've done. And people ever, and I get it. I get it. A lot of people have a really hard time conceptualizing this. And that's why I'm like, we ain't using the mind.
Yes.
We're using our body. Don't question, right? The divine feminine trusts. She's open. She trusts. Yeah.
Yeah, she sure does.
Yeah.
And our mind, yes, we're grateful for it. It's very helpful sometimes.
Yeah.
But our logical mind will never actually understand what's happening in our body. The wisdom that our bodies hold
Mhm.
will never actually understand it. And so,
Mhm.
don't even waste your time. Just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Go with the
Agreed.
flow.
Agreed.
So you
Yeah.
speak about the divine feminine, and that's I want to say a hot topic. Everyone's talking about feminine and the masculine, divine this, divine that. I love
Yeah.
these conversations, but it's becoming like a trendy thing.
Yeah.
And I think, like a lot of trendy things, there is misinformation and misunderstanding in what it actually really means.
Hmm.
So I would be curious with your language, how do you separate to tell us what you know to be divinely masculine, divinely feminine, and how they support each other, how they work together, why we need both.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Every single one of us, every single human on this planet has within them feminine and masculine energy. And most of this planet has been living from the wounded energy. Okay. And this is all connected. The shadow, masculine, feminine, inner child, these aren't separate parts. It's all intricate, it's all whole. And we live from our wounded masculine and feminine. And again, it's okay. It's because of this world that we've grown up in. However, when we begin to tend to the inner child, when we begin to start actually feeling our feelings, when we tend to our bodies, when we heal, okay? And healing is just feeling these emotions. Sometimes there's deeper wounds that need, other outside modalities to help us along the way. But for the most part, we got this. So when we begin to heal, when we begin to tend to these inner child, when we begin to tend to our emotions and feel them, all of a sudden our wounded masculine and feminine energies begin to become healthy. And they become healthy and divine because as we're tending to this healing, our brilliant, miraculous bodies are allowing this dense, wounded, traumatic energy to just leave us. And it opens up capacity within us to embody and embrace a more healthy energy, which is our divine, masculine, and feminine. And the divine feminine, which we've kind of already touched on a bit here, she is open, she is trusting, she is compassionate. She loves herself so deeply, right? She understands ebb and flow. She understands the ebb and flow of her journey. And she honors the ebb. She honors when she's in the depths of hell, moving through crazy stuff that's really painful, right? But she has the strength and the courage and the patience to just be with it because she understands the alchemical process of what's happening. No? And the same with our masculine side, right? We live in wounded masculine. And when we tend just to our traumas, we don't have to zero in. We don't have to look for, masculine wounded energy within us. We just need to tend to the body. And then all of a sudden, when we alchemize that dense energy, we open up capacity for this divine, healthy, masculine energy within us, well, we're very certain we protect ourselves. We're safe within ourselves. We guide ourselves, right? Instead of living with this wounded energy in these voids and then looking for a masculine figure to fill what we need to fill ourselves. And this is how we begin to balance and bring these energies forth. And you can just imagine, a woman who is moving through this work and her healthy divine and her healthy masculine is becoming more and more prevalent. Well, holy shit, right? You're walking this world with strength and guidance and certainty and openness and compassion and patience. There we go.
That feels pretty good.
Yeah.
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 Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I feel also to share that in that transition, which might take someone a while to
Oh, yeah.
land there,
Yeah.
that likely will come with shedding people, places, things, activities,
Oh.
behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
which I know from experience that fear, that like, oh, I don't know if I can let them go, can then keep us
Oh.
in that loop. It keeps us completely in that loop.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's an answer of how to get through that other than like really coming back to that sense of trust. Like, I got me, I got this is right.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna shed people and places and experiences along the way.
Mm-hmm. We are.
To that place.
And if we don't take the step to shed them, which most people don't, and it's understandable.
Yeah.
they're going to get pulled anyhow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Generally
Hmm.
in a way that doesn't feel as great as if you had have just made the decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I call that the Mack truck moment. We get these little nudges. We get these nudges and these whispers and we don't listen. And then maybe a brick comes and we just brush it off, and then maybe a brick wall falls down upon us and we crawl out from the rubble and then the Mack truck hits us.
Right.
And it's like,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you're speaking a lot about working with the body, right? So a lot of somatic work here. And there's a language that our body has been speaking to us our whole life. And again, we weren't taught how to listen to it, at least in
Yeah.
this current existence. And so there's this learning of listening to the language your body's speaking to you. And by the time the Mack truck has come, there has been a novel read to you by your body. Like it has been speaking,
Absolutely.
yelling. And we just, wow, do we ever ignore it? And so I generally think one of the reasons is we live in such a fast paced, chaotic, loud, overstimulated
That too.
world
Yeah.
where it can feel impossible to slow down and listen because there's so many things to do. So
Agreed.
the importance of having some practice that is just for you.
Yeah. Agreed.
Some practice. How do
Yeah.
you structure your personal time, and what does your personal practice look like these days?
I I really did commit to a multitude of personal practices for quite a number of years, especially these last 10 years. And again, meditation, breath work, just taking 10, 15 minutes and just being with me, with my body, scanning it. What am I feeling? What emotions are coming up? Allowing them to come up. However, I've just found over the last little while, I'm almost now in a space where I don't so much practice anymore, but just the things that come through or the things that come up, whenever they come up, I'm aware of it and I just allow it to move through me. I tend to what I need to tend to. I let it sit with me for as long as it needs to, and then I just let it go. And, life just kind of goes as I move through it all. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate hearing that. I am a bit of a rebel, and I don't like ever being told what to do ever. And you know, in the world of self development and spirituality and connecting with the divine feminine, there can be these expectations or the to do list of what your day should look like and your morning should look like. And there's
Yep.
all of these practices. Like I'm a breathwork facilitator. I have a membership based solely on breathwork and somatics. I don't
Yep.
breathe every day. I don't sit in practice every day, but
Yep.
I utilize my tools when I need them.
Mhm.
And so I really appreciate hearing from you that, yeah, we can build ourselves to a place where
Yep.
we just are.
Yeah. We
And
just are.
we just have we have our knowings and our tools, and
Yep.
yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I always say you don't need to schedule in, a meditation for 7 o'clock every morning and a journal for 10 and like, no,
Yeah.
you become aware and mindful and you have a knowing and you begin to tap into it and you acquire these skills and these tools and you just flow throughout your day. And as life comes, you move through what you need to move through.
Yeah. And then, speaking of masculine, feminine energetics, if you're following a super rigid schedule of all of your practices of connecting to yourself, that's very masculine. It's very
Yeah.
rigid. It's very
Yeah.
like, it's very doing. It's
Yeah.
not so being.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. what is your, you work a lot with the shadow, which I really love. I
Yeah.
think that's important. It feels, I don't believe it is, but it feels a bit edgy and rebellious, right? To work in the shadow,
Yeah.
which is probably why I really like it.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like when and how did that come to you? Did that work come to you? And share with the people why you believe it to be so powerful and what the shadow means. Like
Yeah.
really what you believe the shadow to mean.
Yeah. So this work came to me because I myself, for decades, I carried so much shame in my body. Um, so much shame. And it affected so many areas of my life, my relationships, my relationship to myself. Um, I was even disconnected from my sexuality for quite some time because I just had all of this shame within me. So I began, I found out about shadow work. And to me, shadow work is very simple to understand. It's very simple to understand. It's a little bit more difficult to move through the process. But shadow work is simply the places within ourselves that we want to run from the most, places that we're ashamed of, the places we don't want to tell anyone about. I just said in my shadow hunter course, your shadow is, just think of something that if someone knew about you, you would absolutely die
Yeah.
if they were aware of this. That's your shadow. That's your shadow, right? It's past experiences, memories that have transformed into these very heavy layers of dense energy, because that's all wounds are within us. And one of the most difficult things for us to do is to actually tend to and feel those feelings that we have spent typically our entire lives running from. You know, that's the shadow. And all the shadow wants is just to be seen and accepted and loved. That's it. And integrated, right? Some of our greatest power comes from integrating our shadow.
Yeah. And what a sweet opportunity because realistically, that shadow belief, that shadow part is quite young. At least it's younger than we are today.
Oh yeah.
So whether
Yeah.
it's a day younger or 35 years younger or
Yep.
25, it's
Yep.
younger. And it's probably just so like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. They're so afraid. And what a sweet gift to be able to be with that part and let them probably for the first time ever feel accepted and okay, safe.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
you're
And
right, like that. Oh,
yeah, it's only us. It's only us that has the power to do this.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah. You could tell me a shadow side, which I trust you've done all of your shadow work, but you could tell me something right now that is a shadow of yours. And I could say, oh, Rayna, that's okay, hun.
Mm.
I love and accept you anyway. It's totally, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
That would mean nothing.
Nothing.
That would mean nothing.
Nope.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have the power. We are the power. We are the power.
We are the power. Yep.
God.
Yeah.
It's this work that inspired, I was going to say influence, same thing, I guess, inspired this podcast. It's like reclaiming your power. And
Yeah.
and that maybe sounds like a big thing to some people, but you're right. It's so simple.
It is.
It's so simple.
Yeah. The theory of it all is very simple. It's actually so simple that a lot of the times the women I work with, they're like, okay,
Mhm.
I don't know if I believe you, but I'm here.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. There's
You know?
something in them. There's a part of them that knows. There's a part of them that trusts and knows. Otherwise, they wouldn't have felt
Yeah.
the call. You know that. They
Yeah.
know that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. The wisdom, our knowingness, we have everything.
Yeah.
We have everything we have ever needed within us. It's just
Yeah.
been, it's covered in conditioning and programming and trauma and
Mhm.
all of this.
I remember the first time I felt, like really felt that knowing of I have everything inside of me. And I think it was in a breath journey. I think that is where it was. It was so powerful. And then I was just hysterically laughing at how difficult I've been making things.
Yeah.
I was in bliss and laughter and like dumbfounded and this sense
Yep.
of like, of course, it was a remembering.
Yep.
It was like, how in the hell have you forgotten this for so long? I was hysterical.
I know.
It was
And
so
and
funny.
that's exactly how it happens.
Mhm, mhm,
It's exactly how it happens.
mhm.
You know?
It becomes so clear and glaringly obvious that it would be impossible to miss it. And so thank God for that moment because it's impossible now to miss it or forget it. That's always my favorite when a client has that to say. They have this realization that, oh, everything's here. That is like that's the moment.
That's the gold.
That's it.
That is the gold when you
Mhm.
have that moment. And you experience that shift for the first time and you experience this remembrance. And then all of a sudden, I talk about it too. The more that we allow ourselves to feel and move this trauma through us, it's like we begin to see everything through a different lens.
Mhm.
It's like one day you're looking around and you're like, you notice, you just see things differently, in a more beautiful way. And then as you continue on your journey, when you move some more of that, then the lens clears even more and you just see more things. And you're like, oh my God,
Mhm.
you know? And there is such a beautiful life and reality uh, to be lived, had, and experienced when our bodies are not full of all of this trauma and our minds aren't being controlled with this programming and this conditioning, you know? Yeah. You tell somebody that you can live a life of freedom and aliveness and limitless abundance and joy and they look and they're like, what
That's
are
for
you
other
on?
people. Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's for other people, right? That's not true.
No. Oh, thank you for doing this work.
I love doing this work.
Mhm.
you know I do. It's my life,
Mhm.
really.
Mhm.
It's my life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a gift. It's a
Yeah.
good gift.
Yeah.
What are what do you have on the go for people? I know you're working I think you're launching Shadow Hunter right now. Is this true?
Yeah.
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 Tell
Yeah,
us a
I've
little bit
got
about that.
that. I've got the League of Extraordinary Women, which is
Mhm.
my most favorite.
Such a
It's
good
kind of like,
name.
yeah, it's my baby. It's just my 6-week foundational course on
Okay.
everything, really,
Okay.
just to become a powerful, embodied woman and the skills and the tools and the awareness and the steps and how to connect the dots. And because, you know, we're our own healers. So let's have the knowingness and the awareness and the skills and the tools to become our own containers
Mhm.
so that we can move through this world. So I've got that. I'm also actually just working on a 6 month I don't exactly know what it's going to be yet. A 6-month membership, just kind of possibly at a lower price point as well, just so I can, you know, make my accessible to everyone. I still don't have a name for it yet, but that's in the works.
Okay.
And I'm also, I don't know if you're aware of Eisen and Shanty. They're doing the that birthright. Yeah. So they've asked me to be in that. So I've kind of done a class for them in there. So
Cool.
yeah, there's kind of a lot moving and shaking right now, and it's just really cool.
Amazing.
It's exciting. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Where I'll make sure that once this goes live, we'll post all of the current goodies
Yeah.
in the show notes. People can really explore.
Yeah.
Where's the best place to find you?
Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instagram. Yeah. The old self-love lounge. I answer, DM me. Sometimes you get lost in there for a bit, but I eventually find you. And, I answer all of my DMs myself. And yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we haven't covered, shared, anything on your heart, anything right there that you want to add or remind people of?
I want to say that, we do this work for ourselves first and foremost, right? And then for our loved ones and our family. But really, in the grand scheme of things, we're actually doing this for the collective, for humanity, for Mother Earth. And there's really big things going on right now, like huge, never before in the history of this planet. And it's exciting. And if we didn't have the strength and the courage and the fortitude and the love to move through this, we wouldn't be here at this time. We just wouldn't. We all chose to be here. Every single one of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Perfectly placed.
Perfectly placed. Yeah.
Good reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I could talk to you for hours on end.
I know. I could keep going too.
Yeah. I mean, we totally can.
Yeah.
Everyone's like just about to turn the podcast off. We're like,
Yeah.
and let's talk about manifestation. Let's talk about, actually, yeah. Let me pop that. Let me pop that in. Just kidding, guys. We're not done. But also trendy manifestation. I've probably used it in my marketing before because it's a catchy word. And would you agree? Would you say that without this work, truly manifesting is going to be very challenging? Yeah. Yeah.
It's an energetic impossibility.
Yeah.
We're the vessel. We are multidimensional beings living in an energetic universe. And even if you Googled the laws of the universe and you actually just really looked at them, you would understand that in order to manifest, receive, you must first open up capacity within yourself and take that dense, heavy, wounded energy, alchemize it out so that beautiful, healthy, happy, joyful, alive energy is within you. You want to see manifestation, baby? You do that. It'll blow your mind beyond the affirmations that you've written down in your journal. Because until you actually know and experience, you don't know the power of your own body bringing in what life wants to give you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most people are familiar with the law of attraction, which is one of, but it's kind of like it's not even the most important one
No, it's
at
like
all.
Looney Tune. No, it's like no, it's cartoon. It's no, it's Disney stuff. Like, and that's what we were sold on, right? Like, do you remember
Mm-hmm.
The Secret and all the
Yeah.
books?
Yep.
Why do
Exactly.
you think, why was The Secret so popular? Because it doesn't do shit. Really.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
But we're learning.
We're
We're
all
remembering.
we're learning.
Yeah.
We're learning. Well, and
Yeah.
like with manifestation, like you spoke about the affirmations. Yes, we're going to write down what it is that we desire.
Yeah.
What good is that? It's not words. It's not logical. Words are logical. It's not words. It's you got to feel it. And
Mhm.
if you're jam packed with so much shit that isn't even yours, a lot
Yeah.
of it, there
Yeah.
isn't room to feel. There's also not room for whatever you're calling in to even land.
No.
And so
No.
we've got to move it out.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's why, I say to the women that I work with, like, just imagine for a moment, like, just close your eyes and just imagine your body right now. It's stuffed with this dense dark energy. You're repelling everything that you're writing down.
Yeah.
And just imagine, you know, feeling this and moving this out of you. And for every layer of dark, dense energy that you move out of you, you uncover this beautiful, white, vibrant, God source energy,
Mhm.
you know? And when you open up your capacity by moving this dense energy out and you're just full of this beautiful energy, right? That's when you have to be it. You have to become it first.
Mhm.
You have to become it.
Yeah. What advice, if any, would you share with the woman listening right now who's like, that all sounds really good and great for you, but I just don't think I can. I don't know how to do that. I don't know. It doesn't work for me, or whatever the story is.
Yeah. The first thing I would say is that I would ask yourself where that belief that you have is coming from,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is it coming from something you read or something told you? Or like, is it truth or is it not true?
Mm-hmm.
First step always, right?
Yeah.
All these beliefs that we have, the first step is why do I believe this?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I believe this? Right? And then if you want to take it a step further and just kind of move into your body and just be with yourself and ask and just begin to listen to your body,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because again, we're all the same in that aspect. We're all these powerful sovereign beings. We're just carrying a lot of stuff that is not ours,
Mm-hmm.
right? And all you got to do is trust. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the hardest things for people to do. But it
Yeah.
happens, in these micro shifts and these baby steps. You got to surrender a little bit
Mm-hmm.
first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just had a visual. It was kind of funny where you said, we're all the same. I think that's what you said. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
imagining, because I've been that person. I've been that, oh, it must be nice for you.
Oh, me too.
That, yeah. And if I think about, okay, every human, all of us, everyone that's alive right now in the world, when we were born, did, realistically, we were all the same. There was
Mm-hmm.
no one like embedded anything into us yet. We weren't, we're just a human. We're all the same. And, and, and then we're placed out into this beautiful world to do whatever we desire. And so that whole like must be nice for you or that's for other people, like at what point did we become different than each other? Even if baby one, baby two, born in the hospital same time, you see that they're just sweet little human infants.
Yeah.
No one's done anything to them, they're the same. At what point, if you followed their life journey, sure, they
Mm-hmm.
might live in different communities, different families, different experiences, But nothing has happened to change them as being just this beautiful sovereign human. So, at what point do we all of a sudden become not the same?
I truly, we're the same from a multidimensional soul, highest self level, right? And like you said, we come into this world, we're pure, we're innocent, we're these beautiful, precious little babies. And we're born into parents who have their own trauma. We're born into families who have their own trauma and their own beliefs because they have lived in a system that has programmed them, conditioned them. Um, and it really starts from there, right? And it all depends. I mean, whether you're living, where you're living in the world, like there's so many factors that come to play here. But what I know to be true is that the evil forces on this planet, because that's what they are, the evil forces on this planet have done everything in their power for thousands of years to traumatize, violate, program, condition, you name it, from every possible, if you think about it, from every possible angle that you could even fathom. They've divided us. They've pitted men against women. They've pitted religion against religion. They've pitted color against color. It is fucking insane what these evil forces, these evil energies have done to these beautiful, pure souls that came to this earth. Hey? When you really sit back and think about it, it breaks your heart. Yeah. And they've actually managed to get it to a level where men and women are now pit against each other.
Yeah.
It's, you know, I think about it and I just, like, my heart weeps because there's just so much damage and division and hate. And we all think, you know, we're all different. Like, we all think we're all different, and we're full of these beliefs and lies. And it keeps us from actually uniting because they know if we remember who we truly are,
oh, watch out.
Oh, watch out. You know, and it is beginning. Like, we're just at the beginning of this. But once we really begin to unite and remember who we truly are, like, these guys are going to be tapping out left, right, and center. Right?
I'll grab my popcorn, lean back, and watch it all go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a big, powerful time right now.
It truly is, you know? And again, that's just the importance of this work, because I don't give a shit what's going on in the world. I barely pay attention anymore. Like, I'm aware. I'm aware because I need to see it.
Yeah.
It needs to be seen, right? I give a shit less.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about anything. Nothing. I'm not worried about the economy. I'm not worried about the interest. I'm not worried about anything. Because when you can deprogram yourself and remember who you are and why you're here.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
You know?
Powerhouse.
Great time to be here. Great time to be alive, you know?
Great time
it just
to be
is.
Alive.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was like, I'm glad I'm heading out of here.
And my mom says the
sorry
same
about
thing.
The future, but I'm out of here.
My mom says the same thing.
Checking out at a good time. Perfect timing.
Yeah.
I know. I hope my dad's around for another 20 years, but he's like, check me out. This is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, here
it is, but it's exciting, you know, and And it's a blessing that it's finally hit this point, because it needed to, because this place has been a dark and dirty place for far, far too long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was so good. I'm gonna end the recording. Those of you listening, it is happening, but I feel like I want a round two. I feel like we'll just
Me
maybe.
too. Like
Okay,
the
okay,
energy
okay.
here was just, yeah, like I could just keep going.
Yeah, me too. Okay, those of you listening, you heard it here first. We're doing a round two.
Yeah, I'd love it.
Great. All right, beauties, thank you so much for listening. If you haven't yet, please leave a rating or review or subscribe to the podcast so that you don't ever miss a conversation. And we are now in September, which means, oh my gosh, there are some big things happening this month inside of my business. I want you to stay very, very in the loop. So follow along. My Instagram is probably going to be the best way so you don't miss a beat. I can't tell you what's happening, but there is some new energy coming. We'll say that. And in the meantime, if you are looking to get in a little bit of breath work and just explore what it might be to breathe with me a little, there is a link for Breathe With Me, which is a 5-day breathwork experience. It's free. You just download it to your sweet little computer or your phone, and you get to breathe alongside me for 5 days. If you want to talk about this conversation, find me over on Instagram, @thesacred_essentials. I would love to hear from you. And please, if you feel to share this, of course, share it and tag both myself and Rayna at the Self Love Lounge. All right. See you next time.